Hey there, everybody. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna learn watch there. Okay, it's going.
Yay.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rebecca,
And I'm Natalie.
and we are Liberty Ladies.
And we unite.
Yes, we do. So, for our installment this week, we're going to talk a little bit about the mask nonsense. And I think that's something that is stressing everybody out. It's certainly stressing me out, causing me anxiety, getting harassed a lot of places.
Yeah.
Um, and we're going to show you some ideas on how you can push back on this.
Legally
Absolutely.
push back. Oh, yeah.
We got some really good resources since our last broadcast. There's a lady online that has a web page called The Healthy American, and she's actually teamed up with a lawyer which is donating his services. And he's just doing it because he says, I'm a patriotic American, and this
Yeah.
information doesn't do any good if I don't share it with everybody.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of the info from him, and we printed that out, and we just want to share some other info that we have as well. Um, and then hopefully you guys can join us, and you can comment, or you can ask questions, or you can contribute to the conversation, and then we can get some good information out there,
Yay.
get you all involved. So first of all, what I did was I created a questionnaire to take with me to, if I have a business that I think is potentially going to give me a hard time. Now, first of all, the one thing that we've been saying is that
Sorry.
oh, you can say that you have a medical issue. Now, they're not legally allowed to ask you what your medical issue is. As a matter of fact, it is illegal for them to ask you what your medical issue is.
And it's also illegal for any business establishment that services the public, and we'll get into that later because they are not private property. But any establishment that services the public, it is illegal for them to make servicing you and providing you fair and equal access to their services conditional upon seeing or knowing proof of your medical history or condition. That's against HIPAA. So, yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions going around. I've also been on the receiving end of being refused service, specifically in Sprouts, a couple different locations.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that Peggy Hall, she's the lady who started the Healthy American, the thing she points out is that Sprouts, and I've even heard some people have been refused service in Trader Joe's, and of course in Santa Fe, you almost always get refused service if you're not wearing a mask. But Sprouts is a trial balloon, meaning if you're not familiar with the term, it means that they're the test subject. And everyone else, all the other grocery stores, all the other public establishments, are watching Sprouts very closely to see what people will comply with and what the businesses can get away with enforcing. That's another point, is businesses are not supposed to enforce or uphold the law because they are not law enforcement officers. Only law enforcement officers can enforce laws.
I've always thought that's really strange how these supposed mask mandates, which aren't laws,
No, they're not.
they expect these people in these stores to suddenly become mask cops.
Right.
It's like
And the employees, never ever before have we put the burden on enforcing any type of law, statutory law, city ordinances, etc. Never before have we put that burden on businesses or their employees. And it should not be put on their shoulders. That's a disservice to the employees as well. That's a stress that they don't need because they are not law enforcement officers. If you work in a public service industry, you are not beholden to the state to enforce any laws. You didn't take an oath of office to serve and uphold the law like law enforcement officers do. You do not get to impersonate an officer.
And just think about what that would be like. Let's say, for instance, you're some employee at Walmart or something, and you sign up for a job at Walmart thinking, oh, I'm going to be maybe running the register, I'm going to be stocking shelves.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now you want me to be a cop? It's like,
Right.
I didn't sign up for that. It's like,
they have security guards even that are supposed to do, what's it called? Not risk management, but loss management.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even
loss prevention
loss
officers.
prevention, that's it. My husband used to do that.
Yes.
And even loss prevention officers can't touch you.
No.
They have to call the cops if a violation has been actually perpetrated on business property. They can't actually arrest you. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now that is actually illegal. And there's some interesting things about how your civil rights are being trespassed upon. If you're not wearing a mask, they actually can't claim that you are trespassing.
Absolutely not.
It's the other way around.
I had an experience which I posted online over the weekend in which I went to Tomasita's restaurant in Albuquerque.
Yes.
There is a manager there by the name of Karen. Now, isn't that funny? Her name's Karen. It's like now it's like I don't like to make fun of people named Karen because that's my mom's name, and it's like my mom is a really sweet person. She's definitely not a Karen, but this woman.
She was a Karen before there were Karens.
Before there were Karens, it's an old name. Nobody's named Karen anymore.
Right.
So now they've basically turned the name Karen into a dirty word, and this woman was the embodiment of ugly. I mean, oh my God. I went there with my friend Samantha, and she's watching us online right now. Hey, Samantha.
Hey, Samantha, and Leo. It looks like.
Leo.
Hey, Leo.
Yes, and so we went there, and they had the outdoor dining, and it was a beautiful day on Sunday. And I said, hey, yeah, let's eat outside. Yeah. It's like great, there wasn't any wind, the temperature was really nice, so it's like great. But I just got done doing some work on my rental actually the property that we're selling, and my hands were a little bit dirty. It's like, and I said, yeah, I need to wash my. Well, you can use the bathroom, but you got to wear a mask. And I told the lady that was waiting our table, I said, well, I'm sorry, I have a medical issue. I can't wear a mask. And she said, well, okay. I said, well, can you maybe just bring me a damp paper towel or a damp cloth or something just for me to wipe my hand? Well, no, I'm not allowed to do that. Apparently, the manager at Tomasita's wants to just play the mask Nazi role to the hilt, and she doesn't want to accommodate anybody for anything. So she's apparently that question's been asked before, and that's the thing I didn't think about. And my friend Samantha mentioned it to me. It's like they've been asked that question before, and they've been told not to be accommodating. And it's like, wow, what has ever happened to customer service and going someplace and them catering to your needs and trying to make you happy?
Right.
No, they are determined to try to force you to wear a mask if at all possible. And so she said, well, I can get the manager. So Karen came out.
Oh,
and
yes.
Karen, she was holding a mask in her hand. It's like I could already tell she had an attitude,
Yes,
yeah, like like
yeah.
that. Yeah, exactly. And so she comes out and she said, you have to wear a mask. And I said, no, I don't. And I said, it's illegal for you to try to force me to wear a mask. And she said, no, it's not. And she said, I think she said, I can't remember, maybe Samantha remembers the exact words, but something about, I said, well, I am still a free American, and we still do have a Constitution.
More than that, we still have a federal Civil Rights Act. And that's what we're going to get into, which is sourced from the Healthy American, because we have an official Civil Rights Act that was enacted to protect our civil liberties. And it's such good stuff. Go ahead.
It's really good. So anyway, Karen, I just love saying that.
Karen.
Karen said, well, I'm sorry, you can't use the bathroom unless you're wearing a mask. And I said, well, can't you provide me with like a damp paper towel or something? No, I can't. And she plops a jar of hand sanitizer on my table. And I said,
That doesn't replace washing your hands.
No, I said, my hands are dirty. I says, I don't want to put chemicals on my hand and then handle my
eat,
food.
right.
It's like, no. And then she just stormed away and ignored me. And so...
See, at that point, I'd be getting up and making a beeline to the bathroom, wash my hands, and then make a beeline back to my table. And by the time they're like, oh, you should have worn a mask. Oops.
Oh, my gosh.
So not sorry.
Well, I did consider that.
Sorry.
But I was really hungry. So we stayed, and the food was good, and the waitress was nice to us. But can you believe that Karen had the nerve to come back by later and ask us how our meal was? And I said, I said, the food is great. I said, it's you that I don't like.
Yes! Honesty here. Did you leave him a Yelp review?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And Tomasitas has a Facebook page too. So any of you guys, if you want to help us out, go to their Facebook page and give them a nasty review. and just drive their score down. Yes.
Like, way to go, not upholding our civil liberties.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Tanya, glad you joined us. Yeah, that's my mom's name. Tanya knows my mom. So.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So. Yeah, no insult to real Karen, so to Karens out there that actually are nice people. And I told this Karen that she's a very ugly person. Definitely.
Oh my goodness. So to get into the foundational basis for why this is a civil liberties issue, because the mask wearing, it's not about no shoes, no shirt, no service. And a lot of people say that. They even put up signs saying no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service. Shoes, shirt, that has to do with public decency laws and, health and safety, et cetera, et cetera. And I know a lot of people are going to say, but the masks are about safety. Yeah. Okay.
Businesses are not required. It is not their business to be responsible for public safety.
Right.
It's not part of their job description.
Number one, I believe it's the Fourth Amendment, is about your right to private property. Your body is your property. Your clothing is your property.
I made a sign that you maybe saw that I took to one of our rallies. Says my body, my face, my choice.
Yes.
It's like, hey, if these liberals are going to be out there saying it's my body, it's my choice, well, I agree with you. It is my body, and it's my face, and it's my choice.
Absolutely. But to go into the actual amendments, because people have argued with this, or with me about this for months. Like, well, this isn't mentioned in the Bill of Rights. Well, of course it's not. I mean, we even have a Ninth Amendment, which basically says that any rights that the people wish to retain that are not included herein shall not be infringed upon.
And a lot of people don't understand the Bill of Rights, okay?
Right.
The Bill of Rights isn't the rights that you have. The Bill of Rights was simply a supplement to the Constitution to guarantee these rights above
not be infringed upon.
No,
above all others.
Yeah, it's not the only rights you have.
No, it's basically the foundational basis, and the Founding Fathers spent quite a long time debating which rights were the most important and which rights to include on the Bill of Rights, because I think there was something like over 100 that between all of them they wanted to list, and like, okay, we got to pare this down. What are the most important ones? What are the ones that are foundational and are basically the umbrella rights that are God-given rights? So that's what they did. So the Fourth Amendment covers private property, and your face is your property. You have the copyright, the sole copyright to your image. Your face is your property, and no one can tell you to replicate your face, like via video picture. No one can tell you to post it somewhere or to not post it somewhere. And no one can tell you to cover up your identity, which your face is critical to your immediate recognition of your identity when you're in public.
Well, not to mention, you could make a very, very strong argument for the First Amendment in the fact that the First Amendment gives you freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Well, you use your face to communicate and express yourself. So, wouldn't that in fact be taking away your freedom of speech?
Well, it's also discriminatory against people who have hearing challenges that rely on reading lips. And I had that from a friend who is auditorily challenged, and she does rely on reading lips, and this time is extremely stressful for her because it's very, very hard to communicate and understand others. So we've established your face is your property, and no government entity, according to the Federal Civil Rights Act, can infringe upon your personal rights, and more importantly, according to the Federal Civil Rights Act, Title II specifically, you can look it up, all business establishments that service the public are supposed to give free and equal access, or fair and equal access, to everybody. In other words, that means it is your right to step foot on an establishment or in an establishment that services the public. So the next time someone tells you, well, this is private property, oh, I'm sorry, do you live here? Is this your living room? Because I don't have the right to come into Rebecca's house and raid her fridge without her permission. But I do have the right to go into a grocery store, Sprouts, and open their fridge and peruse the options with the intention to buy, because they are very specifically an establishment that services the public. They are legally, it's called a establishment of public, or a place of public accommodation. And they must, as a registered, licensed, however you want to put it, place of public accommodation, they must give everybody fair and equal access to their premises and to their products. And I'm sorry, online shopping is not fair and equal access. For Amazon.com, yes, online access is fair and equal access, because that is the main modus operandi. That is how they sell to people. But Sprouts, they are a physical grocery store.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go in there, it's like, I don't know about you, but when I go in, especially in the produce department, and I'm looking at different things like avocados. I mean, avocados, you can't just grab any avocado. It's like you got to grab the one that has just slightly a little bit squishy, because that's the best kind.
But not too squishy.
Not too squishy, but not, it can't be like hard as a rock, because it's not ready yet.
And even though they have an Instacart, and their Instacart doesn't take EBT, that's a whole nother issue I've found. But their Instacart is supplementary access. Fair and equal access means that whether I wear a mask, whether I don't wear a mask, I have the same access as anyone else who wears or does not wear a mask. So the next time that you are in a store and you're told, oh, this is private property, actually, you are registered as a place of public accommodation, and according to the Federal Civil Rights Act, Title II, you must provide fair and equal access to everyone, regardless of age, gender, sexual orientation, and medical disability.
Exactly, and when you tell them you have a medical issue, they're not allowed to ask you what that medical issue. Now, for me, honestly, my medical issue is that wearing a mask is bad for my health.
Right.
And it causes me to have panic attacks too, which are not good.
Panic attacks, yeah.
But, they're not allowed to ask you the reason. Let me tell you a little thing that happened to me the other day.
They can ask, they cannot require. So you can refuse them. Go, no, I would like to keep my personal information private. Fine, thank you. And they, beyond that point, they have to let it go.
Yeah,
They cannot require and make it a requirement upon which your service hinges.
even if you're dealing with a police officer, it applies to them, and they know it better than anybody.
Yep.
I had a situation a while back where we were talking to a police officer, and it was in Santa Fe. You know, Santa Fe's always been a communist city as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, you know, the police officer asked us about the mask, and we said, well, we can't wear a mask because of medical issues.
Right.
And he said, okay, well, I can't ask you any more questions beyond
That's
that.
Right.
We're good on that.
Even
so he
the
just
police,
moved on.
Even the police know
Yeah,
better.
they do. They know.
Awesome.
So a situation I had the other day, I had a job that I did up in Santa Fe again. I God, it's the worst place ever.
Sorry.
Went up there to a Regis office building. It's where they rent little office spaces to people so they can look like they have a big business when they really don't.
Oh, yeah.
And the person that was at the front desk when you walk in, I told her what I was there to do. I was there to work on their network equipment. And she said, well, you have to wear a mask. I said, no, I don't. I have a medical issue. I can't wear a mask.
Yeah.
And she's like, I guess she's not used to people saying no. But, you know, that's the thing. You got to say no.
Yes.
These, you know, so many people out there now are letting themselves just get pushed around. They're not putting up a fight at all. But I said, no, I can't wear a mask. And so I just moved on beyond that point, and I got her to show me where I needed to get at the equipment I needed to work on, and I got started. Well, I come walking out a little bit later because I got to go out to my vehicle and get some tools, and she had called her supervisor. And the supervisor's standing there, and she's got the mask in her hand. And she said, you have to wear this mask. I said, no, I don't. I said, I got a medical issue, and I cannot wear a mask. And she said, well, you have to. And she's like a little flustered at that point. She said, well, what's your medical issue? I said, you're not allowed to ask me that. And I said, if you push me on it, do you want me to report you? And then let's see, where'd it go from there? Oh yeah, she said, well, I'm going to need a doctor's note. And it's like at that point,
Okay.
I said, no, you do not need a doctor's note. And I said, I am not required to give you one. And I just looked at her straight in the eyes and told her that.
Yep, that's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah, and I just turned away from her and ignored her and went back to working, and I never heard from her again.
So interesting thing upon that, to kind of piggyback on it, one of the things you can download, please you all, go to the Healthy American, is it .com or .org? .org.
Yeah.
TheHealthyAmerican.org. They have lots of documents that you can download, and they are so helpful. This is a legal notice, I'll pull it up here, that you can actually serve to the manager on duty in an establishment.
And depending on what state you're in, what you do is you just you read the particular violation, you look up in your state what the penal code is for your state, write that in there, and then what the penalty for that is, and you fill it out based on your state, so you can personalize it to whatever state you live in.
Justia.law or .org? I'm so horrible at those. But Justia, it's either .law or .org. JUSTIA is where you can look up all of the statutory law based on your state. They'll have a list on the homepage of the states. You click on your state, and you can look up all your civil rights laws, etc. by state. So the first one is, it is illegal for you, the manager, or another employee to require someone to wear a mask, even if you are a licensed medical doctor, even if you've examined the patron and you've determined the person to be physically fit enough to restrict their breathing, the person still has the right to choose whether to wear a mask or not. Even just recommending that someone wear a mask is the unlicensed practice of medicine, and you will be reported to the Medical Licensing Board of this state for violating penal code look that up. And what I want to do eventually, Rebecca, is I want to look up all these codes, fill them in, and then provide links to them specifically for New Mexicans as well.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because, so here's the thing. It's like, oh, excuse me, you are requiring the correct term is medical intervention. You're instigating a medical intervention here. I've told you that I have a medical condition, a medical exemption from mask wearing. So you're instigating a medical intervention. Do you have a medical license? Do you have a doctor on duty? Do you have a doctor on the precedence? What is your liability for instigating a medical intervention?
Yeah, do they have insurance to cover you
Yes.
passing out on the floor
Once
in their
I
store?
pass out on the floor in your store while shopping, what kind of liability insurance do you have? And those two words, liability and insurance, tends to grab the attention of most managers.
Insurance always scares people.
Yes,
Oh,
insurance.
and one thing I want to point out to you, before you ask these questions, okay, when you walk in the store, chances are you're going to get confronted by some underling in the store,
Yes.
somebody that doesn't have any authority, and they're
Don't
just doing
talk
what
to
they're
them.
don't
Just, yeah,
don't talk to them. You're wasting your time with them. Ask to speak to the main store manager, whoever's in charge at the time of the store.
manager on
The store
duty.
manager.
Yeah, whoever the manager is on duty. It even says here, as the manager on duty is the person responsible for the operation and management of the establishment, and they are criminally and civilly liable for the activities that they allow or prohibit on the premises, regardless of whether they even own the establishment or not. So that being said, that means that you can sue them personally in civil court. In fact, even a cashier who refuses you service, you can point out to them, look, I would rather not, but right now you're denying me service. I have offered to pay for these groceries, and you're denying me service in a place of public accommodation that is supposed to provide fair and equal access to everyone without discrimination or even fear of intimidation. So if you're not going to provide me fair and equal access right here, right now, then I'm going to have to see you in court. So what's your name and number?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You are actually liable. And anyone who works in a store, look, I understand you're in a tough position. I've had so many cashiers tell me, I can't sell this to you or I'll get fired. And I've asked them, do you want to get sued? Do you have the money to, field a lawsuit? Because that's what you're looking at here. Don't think that you can hide behind the company. It is a matter of civil rights violations, and individuals as well as businesses are liable for civil rights violations. At least, according to the Federal Civil Rights Act. So do you want to take the next one, number 2?
Yeah. By the way, before I forget, Karen at Thomasina's, the comment she made to me, which is completely over the top.
Oh boy.
When she tries to get me to wear the mask, she says, well, an adult would have no problem doing this. It's like me and my friend Samantha's like, and this person's the manager and they're insulting me as the customer.
What happened to the customer is always right.
Yeah,
I worked a couple decades in different customer service, from phones and phone service, from restaurants, a bar, etc. What happened to you don't argue with the customer, huh? That has all gone out the window.
I was talking to my mom on the phone the other day, and I've been passing all this information to her, and I've really been empowering her. And my mother's like let's see.
Oh my God! If
your
mother raised you and you're anything like her.
Yeah, my mother's 77 years old, and she goes to a restaurant, and they give her a hard time, and she just laid into them, and the manager finally just said, "Okay, just go on and go on in." Because she refused to wear a mask.
Okay, Karen, Rebecca's mom, I salute you. You're a Karen.
I said, Mom, I'm so proud of you.
Good job, Mom.
So, number 2 here. It is illegal for you or another employee to take someone's temperature. Okay, the temperature gun where they stick it to your head. Okay, it's like, isn't that...
Even if it's contactless.
Yeah.
Your temperature is your personal medical information, and that's your property.
Gathering vital statistics is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, which protects a person's right to privacy. Violation of this protection will result in your actions being reported to the U.S. Department of Justice, which is required by law to investigate civil rights violations.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, and Samantha reminds you that don't forget that Tomasita's manager refused access to the restroom to someone with a medical disability.
It's like,
or medical condition, yeah.
well, can you say discrimination?
Oh, yeah, major, major discrimination. So, yeah, you can actually refuse to have your temperature taken, and this goes for employees as well. Now, unfortunately, many employees, and I've talked to a lot of people, I'm very fortunate to own my own business. I am my own boss.
Me too.
I can take my own temperature if I want to.
I feel fortunate about that every day. It's like, but I really do believe, even if I was working for somebody else during this thing, I would make the sacrifice and push back. I would.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we got to push back.
And the thing is that it's not a sacrifice to push back, because a lot of what you get from the Healthy American, Peggy Hall, she's great at providing you the facts and providing you as much paperwork as she can, as well as questions. And John J. Stevenson, who put together a lot of this legal stuff, makes the point that you don't have to argue. You don't have to be argumentative. You can just ask from the standpoint of, look, I just kind of want to see where we are here, because I've got a medical disability, and according to the Federal Civil Rights Act, you're not supposed to discriminate against me for my medical condition. So are you refusing me service because, I have a medical condition? And most managers will go, oh, no, we don't do that, but you have to wear a mask on our premises. So are you refusing me services because I'm not wearing a mask due to my medical conditions? And they'll kind of try to hem and haw around it, but eventually they get frustrated and go, yeah, we're refusing you service. Okay, well, since you're refusing me service based on my medical conditions, I'm going to go ahead and have to fill out and serve you with an affidavit, a notice of discrimination. So, and John James, as he puts it, fill it out, read everything on it out loud where everyone around you can hear it. They can hear it. If you've got a buddy with you, have them filming it. It's got date of violation, the name of the violator, a place to put the description of the incident, the location, the name of the business, and all kinds of stuff, including a handy dandy signature line and a place to check if they refuse to sign.
Yep.
Because a lot of them will probably refuse to sign.
Oh, sure.
But you either fill these out double and serve them with this one here and there, or you can copy it later and mail it to their corporate headquarters, and then mail it to their legal headquarters as well.
As a matter of fact, on the healthyamerican.org, she has actually compiled a list of all the major businesses that we normally deal with, and all of their corporate contacts, their corporate lawyers, all that stuff. It's under
Shop Mask Free is the link at the top of her website to get to that information. Shop Mask Free. And she's got a wonderful, what would you call it, initiative to get stores to provide us fair and equal access to their premises by asking them to provide mask-free hours of service. And now some people have mixed feelings on this. They're like, oh, but that's segregation. She's like, well, that's the point. Fair and equal access. If you're not going to provide fair and equal access together, everyone together, and if you're going to recognize mask privilege, which, by the way, is my favorite phrase of the week.
Yeah.
If you're going to consider put someone else's mask privilege above everyone else's, then you need to provide segregated, fair and equal
Not
access.
only that, but when they have the mask-free hours, people wearing a mask will not be allowed in at that point in time, because we don't want to look at these people because they freak us out.
Right.
They make us uncomfortable.
My husband is totally on edge all the time wherever we go, because he cannot read people's faces completely.
I'm the same way. Like, all I see is a bunch of blank faces.
Right.
And it's creepy. It's creepy.
So the notice of discrimination, that's on the website. You can print that off. The third thing on this legal notice is It is illegal for you or another employee to attempt to enforce local ordinances. Back to the whole, excuse me, do you have a badge? Are you law enforcement? Did you take an oath of law enforcement? Because if you're not a law enforcement officer, then you are impersonating a law enforcement officer, and that is a crime in this state under penal code. And you have to zip in New Mexico's penal code for that, which carries the penalty of, and I forget how much the fine is, but it's pretty hefty. So you'll be reported to the authorities if you violate this law.
Yeah, and we'll look those penal codes up for you, and next week
Yes.
when we talk, we'll make sure that we share all those with you.
Yes.
I've even considered the idea maybe at some point we should probably have a website. And I looked, Liberty
Yes,
Ladies
yes, yes,
Unite
yes.
is an available website.
Well, I
get the
started a
domain.
YouTube page for us, just so
Okay.
you know. So if we can get these videos offline, because I get so many requests now, particularly from my students, are like, well, when was that? I can never find it on Facebook, which is not surprising because Facebook throttles both of us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm frankly surprised
I'm
that this
constantly
hasn't.
getting censored. It's just a sign that I'm doing something right.
I'm surprised that we haven't been put in Facebook jail
I'm
yet
surprised.
over these videos.
I know.
Oh.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. Okay, so or you can take number 4.
We'll do number 4. Okay, so it is illegal for you or another employee to prohibit someone to enter this establishment, which is a place of public accommodation, like we talked about earlier. U.S. Federal Civil Rights Law, Title II, requires free and equal access to all services and facilities without discrimination. Having someone else shop for them is not equal. Further, the non-discrimination laws in this state under code, which we'll provide it later, you write that in, further prohibit you from preventing entry to the full enjoyment of this business establishment.
Key. Just to pause there. Full enjoyment. Online shopping does not count. It is supplementary to their business model. It is not the majority of their business model. Like she was saying, I can't go in and pick my own freaking avocados.
Yeah.
I'm not going to order avocados.
I don't want somebody else to
online.
pick my avocados for
they're
me.
first off, they're touching them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we get COVID all over my avocado.
Right? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Or something.
You know, what am I supposed to do to this avocado to sterilize it after they've put COVID all over it?
But full enjoyment of this business. And I'm sorry, when I go to a restaurant, if I have to wear a mask to go to the bathroom, I am not enjoying the business, the establishment, the experience to the fullest.
No. How can I enjoy it under this situation? Violation of these laws will result in you being served a notice of discrimination, which can serve as the basis of a formal complaint against you personally with the U.S. Department of Justice, which is required by law to investigate civil rights violations.
Yep. So, again, back to the whole U.S. federal civil rights laws. This is what's called statutory law. And what a lot of us have been saying, it's not even constitutional as far as it's not from the actual Bill of Rights from the Constitution. It's statutory law. And statutory law does not change in times of an emergency. So they can't say, oh, but it's a public health emergency. Oh, but it's a lockdown.
No,
it's a quarantine.
No.
Peggy
There
Hall says.
There is no emergency declared. There is no emergency.
No, yeah, there actually is none. Technically, all her orders are supposed to expire.
That's right.
But even if there was a public health emergency, my favorite example, hurricanes and tornadoes.
Hey, Stella.
Hey.
Glad you could join us.
Hurricane Alley. Every single year during hurricane season, we hear about governors and mayors who've put out mandatory evacuation orders. And even those mandatory evacuation executive orders are only suggestions because the police, the firemen, they cannot go in and bodily remove you from your home prior to an emergency, and even during an emergency. If your house is flooding and you refuse to leave your home because, gosh darn it, you want to die there.
That's right.
They cannot remove you. Now, the rest of us might call you idiots, but it is your right because it's your personal property. You have your right to your personal property and your body, and to decide to do with it as you wish. The police, no one can remove you from your private property, unless you're unconscious and someone called the cops and it was a rescue operation. But no, if you're lucid and you're refusing to move, every year we hear about it, people who've died because they would not leave. Sad, but their choice. And this country was never about protecting people from their stupidity. It was about protecting people's right to make the choices for their own lives.
That's right. It's the government's real mission is to protect you from having your rights violated, not to violate your rights.
Right.
And people just...
And they don't even give us our rights.
No.
Our Bill of Rights, our Constitution acknowledges that our rights do not come from the government. We are created equal. All men, meaning human, by the way, in case anyone wants to... Oh my God,
the PC crowd, they drive me crazy.
Oh gosh, it's like, no. You realize through the ages, men has been used as a shortened form of human, meaning the human race. Yeah, no, all humans are created equal. All humans have inalienable rights. And in this country, and yes, you do have to be a citizen, in this country, those rights may not be violated, first and foremost, by the government.
Yeah. I saw a story the other day where, the mainstream news, you can't count on them at all for anything anymore.
Not even Fox.
All they do, not even Fox, all they try to do is ram the COVID lie down your throat and a couple of other things. But they're not talking about all the other big things that are going on around the world. Like, I saw a video the other day, Australia is, they're just going all out communist right now. They showed a video of a guy being drugged out of his house, out of his home, because they suspected that maybe he had COVID, and they were going to drag him out of his home, and they were going to isolate him, and they were going to force a vaccine on him.
China has been forcing people into prison camps, into quarantine, or in lieu of that, boarding up the door to their homes and imprisoning people in their homes.
That reminds me of the Jemez Pueblo the other day when we were going to the camping up there in the Jemez, and I saw they had these concrete barriers blocking everybody in to the Jemez Pueblo so they couldn't get out. They were prisoners.
To all my Native American peeps out there, you all are the ones who truly are experiencing systemic racism. You are imprisoned on your own land. It is a crime. It is criminal what's been happening to you for over 100, 200 years. And if anyone really wants to talk to me about systemic racism, I'm willing to talk to you about that. But you tell me that any other race in this country is discriminated against, like our Native American Indians. I dare you, come talk to me about that. But that's a whole nother...
No, we totally support you guys. It's like...
every time we drive by one of the reservation access points and we see police parked right outside, we see the concrete barriers, and you guys are prisoners on land that technically you don't even own because the government doesn't give you the right to do what you wish with your own private property. It's not your private property. You're imprisoned on it.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to all of you. Those of you who know me, I love you. We pray for you. Those of you who've worked with my husband through the years, he really, really, you always weigh heavy on his heart. It's a tragedy. It's a travesty. And it's something that our nation needs to fix. Pronto.
A little side note, and a funny thing I saw that somebody posted the other day on, I can't remember if this is Twitter or Facebook. They were showing we were talking about masks, of course, and he posted a picture of the kind of like huge mask you gotta wear, where like if you're a coal miner, and another one if you're a fireman, and all this kind of stuff, and then the next one is a person wearing one of these flimsy little surgical masks saying protection against the deadliest disease known to man, and it's like. Wow, so we need to save some money with these masks that we're spending for these coal miners and firemen, and just provide them with one of these little flimsy surgical masks, because that's apparently all they need.
Forget these asbestos masks that you need to wear.
Totally overkill, apparently.
Totally. Okay, so number 5 on here, it's 2 pages, the legal notice is 2 pages long. It's got 9 points. So it is illegal for you or another employee, oh, I love this one, to block someone's entry to your establishment. Why? Oh, well, this is a place of, again, public accommodation, and as such, no person may be prevented entry when this establishment is open to the public. Boom. Period. Attempting to prevent someone's entry to this establishment or to restrict, detain, or confine their movement constitutes false imprisonment. Oh, wait, isn't that also known as kidnapping? Yes. And again, under whatever our state code is. So it does not matter if you're leaving. It does not matter if you're entering. It doesn't even matter if you're trying to get from produce to the bread aisle. They cannot impede your progress because that is false imprisonment. They are not private property. Again, they are a place of public accommodation with public hours. So everyone, again, back to the Civil Rights Act, Title II, everyone has the right, and it's an irrevocable right, the irrevocable right to enter any public place of accommodation during their public hours, during the hours where they're open to the public. And of course, we're not saying, oh yeah, you can go there after hours because they're a public place. No, 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 no. Their hours are posted on their website. Their hours are required, by the way, by the state and the government to be posted where they can be seen right there on their doors so that the public knows, okay, 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. is when they're open to the public. Yeah, during those posted hours, they cannot impede your progress into the store. Period. False imprisonment. And yes, you can use that and tell the well-meaning but misinformed clerk at the entrance who's like, I'm sorry, you can't come in without a mask. Like, yes, I can. No, I do not have to wear a mask. Thank you. Oh, no, I can't let you in. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you perpetrating false imprisonment? Because this is a place of public accommodation, and you have posted hours where your establishment is open to the public. And under my civil rights, Civil Rights Act Title II, you cannot impede my progress or my entry. I have the right to enter this establishment anytime during your public hours.
Well,
and if you're going to kidnap me, then I guess I'm just going to have to call the sheriff right now. Hey, 911. Yes, I have someone trying to perpetrate false imprisonment. Oh yeah, it's at that Sprouts. It's Darlene. Yes, false imprisonment. Yes, can you get someone down here right away, please? I would like to fill out a formal complaint and press charges.
Yeah.
You actually can do that.
And you know what? You know how I deal with this stuff when I go into a store, and like for instance Walmart. Now, Walmart, they've kind of been pretty lenient on this stuff, at least in
they're watching.
Where around here. They're standing out there and they're looking like they're doing something about it, but they're, for the most part, they're not. At least all the Walmarts I've been into.
You drop the word medical, all you have to say is medical. You don't even get into exemption.
And they're like,
oh, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
But
they can't back off fast
But what
enough.
I'll do is I'll just not even look at them for any kind of approval.
No,
I just make
a
beeline right on in, and I'm past them so quick. And if they're talking behind me, it's like I can't hear them. It's like I just go right on. You know, it's like, well, they're wearing a mask. They're muzzled. I can't hear them. You know, they're wearing that muzzle. And that's what I do. And that's what I suggest everybody do. Because, okay, for starters, my knowledge about, let's say, for instance, Walmart, and it's like this at most stores similar to Walmart, is that you have this big store and you have bunches of people in there shopping. You have lots and lots of employees working at any point in time. And that entire store maybe at most has a main store manager on duty and maybe a secondary manager, maybe. And they're busy all day long doing stuff. And they don't have time to deal with some stupid little mask violator. And so if you just walk right in and you ignore them,
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to chase you down.
Mm-mm.
And if they do, hey, with this information we're giving you, you are armed to deal with it.
So I was in one of the Costco's over the weekend with my eldest daughter, and we didn't have a problem. That they tell us up front, you have to wear a mask, and I'm like, nope, medical, okay. And they kind of know me there, and they know better now than to question my children or my daughter and go, them too? I'd be like, yeah. You want to ask me about that? No, they know better. But so we get into Costco and we're walking down along towards the food aisle, and then I hear behind me, like it barely registered, oh, they're not wearing a mask.
Oh
And then 30 seconds later, we're about 10, 20 yards down, and I hear this cart coming up fast on my left, and this guy yelling, hey, see everyone around you? We're all wearing masks. Where's yours? And he comes up, and I look over, and he's wearing a mask, and his son, about my daughter's age, is wearing a mask. And
One
I'm like,
smart person in a sea of idiots.
oh my God. And I'm like, feel free to stay 6 feet away from me. In fact, I prefer it. Bye. And I tried to get away. But, there are so many people in these stores, in Costco, oh, okay, we can't go to church and fill church, but we can fill the grocery store, sure. That I couldn't really get away from him. So then he's all, turns around. I swear, I could have made a point for stalking me. And he's all, well, why don't you stay 6 feet away? And I'm like, excuse me? Do I know you? He's like, well, I don't care. I'm like, okay, good. And then he's all, well, we all live on the same planet. And at that point, I actually could have turned around and asked for his name and said, okay, my lawyer's going to be contacting you about harassment. Because before that, after he first chased me down and accosted me, he rammed his cart into mine in order to cut me off.
Well, that sounds like assault. Yeah.
And it's a really good thing that my daughter wasn't on that corner of the cart, because he would have clipped her. And oh yeah, then you bet your ass I would have been claiming assault on you.
Well, and just like we were talking about earlier, where the store isn't responsible for public safety, you are not responsible for anybody else's safety either.
No.
As an individual, I'm not responsible for anybody else's safety.
Nope.
If you feel threatened by me, then you stay 6 feet away from me. It's
Yes.
not my responsibility to stay 6
Yes.
feet away from you.
And that's also a good thing here, is no store is held to the standard by the law of, yay, Audrey, no store is required to keep their customers safe. No store is required to uphold public safety
They're
laws
not even properly
until
licensed
now.
for that.
No, because precisely they are not public health officials, they're not law enforcement, they're not public safety officers, etc., etc., etc. They're not even required to educate you because, oh, guess what? They're also not licensed educators. So they're not required to educate you about mask wearing either. So I want to go on to number 6. This kind of piggybacks on number 5. Any claim of store policy or no mask, no service, it's null and void because it's unlawful. No business may enforce policy that violates established law. We're talking law passed by your state legislatures, law duly passed by U.S. Congress, and then signed by an executive officer.
And let me add,
not a mandate.
Laws do not go away just because of some scamdemic or an alien invasion or an asteroid falling to Earth. No, the
Even
laws
a hurricane.
No, the laws don't go away.
No.
The laws are always there. They do not go away.
Yeah, so this legal notice sets forth the previous 5 laws, and there may be more, which supersede any claim to a store policy. Any attempt to prohibit the free and equal access to all services and facilities of this business establishment will be reported to law enforcement as criminal charges of false imprisonment, be reported to the U.S. Department of Justice as a violation of civil rights, be reported to the legal counsel of this establishment, hence those corporate, addresses, and be reported to the district attorney in this jurisdiction for possible criminal charges. So, yeah, there are real ramifications for our civil rights being trespassed upon. Just as if someone had walked into the store and someone had the audacity to say to them, "We don't serve your kind. You better skedaddle." Now, that is what these civil rights are protecting. Our rights. That's what they're for. Is you cannot be discriminated against for your gender, your nationality, your skin color, your accent, your perceived sexual orientation, or any medical disabilities. And that includes mask wearing.
Right.
That's your choice to cover your face or not, whether you choose to claim medical conditions or not. Mask wearing is your choice. Your right to privacy, your personal property. And those rights may not be infringed upon. Can you tell we're on a soapbox here?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
just a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah,
no.
just a little. Well, here's a funny thing, too. Up until recently, when I was going over to the Costco on Eubank,
Yeah.
they would refuse me access without a mask. Now, I was getting around it by saying, well, I'm picking up a prescription, which I actually was, but they weren't checking on that.
Right.
But they were going to refuse me access to the store because I wasn't wearing a mask. Okay, here's another thing, too. If you go to the company's website, I actually went to Costco's website, found a letter that had recently been posted on there by their CEO.
He updates it about every other month.
Which specifically says on here, on the very first paragraph, "Dear Costco member, to help protect our employees and members effective May 4th, 2020, all Costco members and guests must wear a face mask that covers the mouth and nose at all times while at Costco. This requirement does not apply to children under the age of 2 or to individuals who are unable to wear a face covering due to a medical condition." So when they were refusing me access, they were even violating their own company policy.
Yep, in your face. Yes. And
absolutely, or religious beliefs.
Or religious beliefs.
Or technically, it's religious conviction.
Yeah,
okay, which means that is the law of your religion, which you live by, and actually forcing you to wear a mask. And if you were to comply and wear a mask, knowing that it's a lie, you would be violating the 9th commandment.
Yeah, thou shalt not bear false witness.
Absolutely.
Also, if you believe, as we happen to, that all men are created and endowed by their Creator, with a unique face, and that we are made in the image of God, there are some sects that hold the belief that covering up your face is tantamount to covering up the image of God. You are covering up what makes you unique. You are covering up what God has gifted you, and that is sacrilegious because it's tantamount to saying, God, I don't like what you created.
Well, we were created in God's image.
Yeah. So number...
I'll do 7?
Do 7, yeah.
Okay. Neither you nor an employee may prevent the lawful entry of a patron, regardless of whether they are wearing a mask or not. Attempting to prevent the entry of a patron to your business establishment, which is a place of public accommodation, is a violation of an implied irrevocable license that this business has granted to the public.
Yes.
Okay, and we talked about that earlier. And by the way, I just want to say that this lawyer that put in the time and is sharing this information absolutely free of charge just because he is a good American, thank you so much. He's awesome.
So much. Yes, John J. Stevens said, "We love you."
Absolutely. He's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing here too, is this is in their business license, by the way, you all. When people register, for different types of businesses, place of public accommodation, when it's understood that they are going to be a business that's open to the public, it's not the same as an office where only the employees basically are allowed on the premises. No, a public place of accommodation, specifically in their business license, they have made the deal with the state and the government and therefore the public that they're going to grant the public fair and equal access.
Now I wonder how that would apply when it's like a place like Costco, which is a private membership. I would think that
you paid for the membership.
I paid for it. I'm entitled to be there.
Well,
right?
Not only that, because they have a pharmacy, even though that they are a private wholesale club, anyone can A, go to the food court, even if you're not a member, and B, go to the pharmacy. And that's one reason why
Oh,
they
the
let you
pharmacy?
through.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. All pharmacies, everyone has to also have fair and equal access to medical
Well, because they ask for your Costco
supplies.
card when you go to the pharmacy.
Yeah, but I discovered a long time ago that even you don't even have to have a membership to go to the pharmacy. If I would be interested to see if that's changed, but
Hmm.
I don't believe that that has changed because that's a big one. Fair and equal access to medical supplies. So, so 5, 6, 7, they're all kind of related. The whole can't block someone's entry, can't do a store policy, no mask, no service. That's law null and void because it violates statutory law, and they can't prevent lawful entry of a patron, and it is lawful. You deciding to go in to the Sprouts around your corner, and my Sprouts is around my corner, um, they can't claim unlawful entry. No, it is lawful entry. Absolutely. So number 8, any attempt by you or an employee to summon law enforcement with a claim of trespassing will be reported as assault by you or your employer. Yes, because now you are trespassing on my rights. And oh yeah, and you're wearing a mask. And oh, go please watch this video. If you want to look for it on YouTube, it's labeled "How to Sue Sprouts." It's awesome.
Absolutely.
And he talks
They
about
use
how,
Sprouts as an example.
yes,
So, yeah.
and he talks about how it's bad enough that someone um, summons law enforcement, tries to make you wear a mask, but if they're wearing a mask, it makes it so much worse because now it's intimidation, and them wearing a mask and hiding their identity exacerbates them trespassing on your rights. So you or your employer can be charged with and convicted of assault in this state under code, da 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 da, even if no one is physically hurt by your behavior. There is no valid claim of trespass here because A, your business establishment is open to the public. B, this business establishment has extended an irrevocable license to the public for entry.
And those are important words.
Yes,
Irrevocable
it's an
license. Remember that.
irrevocable license. They can't decide tomorrow, well, we're going to revoke the license for Latinos to come here, or we're going to revoke the license for people having gang tattoos to come onto our presence. No, they can't do that. And then, last but not least, or no, second to last, the patron has entered legally and has not interfered with the business. And that's the thing. They cannot call the cops and accuse you of trespassing unless a violation has been committed, which goes to the point D. There has been no evidence
You
of
haven't done anything wrong.
violation.
It's not like
Yeah,
it's not like you've come in at the place and robbed the place
right.
or causing a public disturbance. The disturbance is being caused by them violating
So
your
when the
rights.
police come, if they tap you on the shoulder, go, ma'am, you have to leave, trespassing. Okay, officer, what violation has been committed?
Yeah.
Seriously,
What law have I
what
broken?
violation has been committed? Has there been a violation? And the police will know exactly what you're saying and getting at. Because
Yeah.
most likely they'll have had to ask the owner, what violation's been committed? Oh, they're not wearing a mask. At which point some cops might go, oh my God. So as soon as you ask, officer, what violation has been committed?
Somebody told me the other day they actually ran into that exact situation and the store did call the cops and the cops showed up and they asked the cop that question and said, they haven't done anything wrong.
Yep,
So you don't have any right to keep them out. That's what
yep,
he told the business owner. It's like, you don't have a
yep.
right to keep them out.
The police know the law, especially in this instance.
Yeah.
They are well versed on civil rights, and if you stand up and say, officer, where have I made a violation? I'm not stealing. I'm not shoplifting.
It's their job to know this stuff. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a member of the public. I have an irrevocable license to be on the premises of a business establishment that's open to the public. So, what violation? I mean, I'll be happy to discuss it with you if there was an actual violation involved. And be nice to the cops. Don't argue with them. That's not the place to argue with them. God forbid you get one of the cops that think that they have to actually uphold a mask mandate. By and large, most of those that I've come across don't. Actually, I haven't come across any cop yet, other than state police, who's willing to uphold a mask mandate.
No.
Most of them actually walk right by
Well,
me.
you know,
They don't even look at
I
me.
went to the Big Back the Blue rally over the weekend in Espanola,
Ah, yes.
and I think every Espanola police cruiser was there. They were helping us with our
Yes.
parade, and
Love you,
they were all
Espanola.
awesome. And it's like they were all there. We're all on the same side.
Yeah.
They are with us.
Yes.
100%. As a matter of fact, sheriffs showed up from a lot of other places too, besides this Espanola.
Everyone knows we're in the middle of a crime wave, and the crime is not wearing a mask. So yeah, they got better things to do. So do you want to take the last one?
Number 9, which we have kind of touched on, but this kind of summarizes it. If you are wearing a mask while engaged in any of the above violations, this aggravates your crime.
Yes.
You or your employee can be charged with and convicted of assault in this state under code, and then you look up the code, even if no one is physically hurt by your behavior. You're still threatening to them, and
I don't feel safe, and especially when I can't see your face, I don't feel safe. And again, this goes back to the Federal Civil Rights Act, Title II, that everyone not only has the irrevocable right to fair and equal access to places of public accommodation, but you have the right to access without fear of intimidation or harassment.
Yeah. So
fear of intimidation or harassment. Oh, I'm intimidated by all these masks around me. And actually, yes, I am.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of scary sometimes going
Well, I think it is. And, you know, I was listening actually to Rush Limbaugh today, and somebody had called him, and they were talking about masks. And
Rush.
He was basically talking about how one thing that the mask serves is to promote fear.
Yes.
And for me, I want to add to that, it not only promotes fear, but it also promotes division. And that's what the left wants to do. They want to divide us. They want to turn us against each other.
And I would say further, a false sense of security on behalf of the mask wearers. Because there is a type of anonymity. In fact, before all this started, if you were protesting, you were not allowed to wear a mask while protesting. Because rioters and looters often wear masks so that they can't be criminally charged in court because it's hard to prove who they are. Yeah, there are many even public places and property where you couldn't wear a mask because some city ordinances have anti-mask laws on city property because of that, because it can be construed as threatening and intimidating. So it's threatening and intimidating to everyone who's not wearing a mask, but it also gives a false sense of security and anonymity to those who comply. And I know plenty of people, plenty of my friends will go ahead and comply so that they can go in the store. They just don't want any trouble,
or the library, with the hassle or anything,
or the bank.
But you got to do it. They just don't want
the hassle, and they feel like the mask protects them. And at this point, it's not even about protecting you from some stupid virus, which on the box says this does not prevent from contracting infectious diseases such as COVID-19.
Can you imagine if they tried to do this crap back in the 60s, back when people were really liberals? I would have been a liberal back then. I would have been proud to be a liberal because the liberals back then, they were fighting back against big government and the man, okay? Yes. And so these masks, this is the man taking control of your life.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's, again, it's not even about the stupid Wuhan, China virus anymore. Yes, I said it. And yeah, I'm actually part Chinese and have relatives and friends.
The Kung Flu. The Kung Flu. I like that one. The Kung Flu. That one's funny.
I love that. It's not even about the virus anymore. It's about control. And
it always has been.
It's about testing us to see how many of our liberties will we stand to have violated. How much of our civil rights are we willing to give up for perceived security? Yeah. That's what this is about.
Well, you know, they got a name for us now. We're no maskers.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, we've been labeled.
It's not even that I'm anti-mask. I'm like, if you want to wear a mask, fine.
You wear one if you want.
I didn't agree with it, and I've said this before. I didn't agree with it when the CDC was saying, oh, no one should be wearing a mask except licensed medical practitioners. And I'm like, excuse me, my face, my choice. Yeah. Everyone should have the choice to wear a mask if they want to, But, wear a mask. don't wear a mask. The
Wear a
point
mask
is,
if you want to.
it's your choice. No government, no business establishment, no private person can tell another private person, you have to mask up.
No.
No. And you know what? I'm sorry. If you're behind a mask and you're getting on me for not wearing a mask, how dare you shove your mask privilege in my face?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is right now. Mask privilege. You want to complain about white privilege? Yeah, no, sorry. That's been debunked here, up, and down for years. But you all are experiencing mask privilege right now.
Well, and you know what's happening? And I was talking to Maddie's dad, Joe, the other day. We got talking on the phone. I called him the other day.
Joe.
Oh my God, Joe and I talked for almost 3 hours. It's like we get going about stuff and we just can't stop. And I got to talking to him about this whole mask thing, and there are people that are literally developing a mental illness over this. They really are. There used to be a label for it. It used to be called germophobia.
Yes.
And people are actually developing germophobia. There's a lot of them out there where they'll jump back. It's like, oh my God, stay away from me. And it's like, it's crazy. And it's like people are literally becoming mentally ill. And I believe that this will be a mental illness which will go on for a long time.
Yes.
I really do. I think people have been seriously damaged from this. And, you know, I thought if somebody gets really militant and comes up to me, one comeback I thought I might say to them, it's like, you know, you have a right to wear a mask if you want to. Actually, no, I thought I would add to it. You have a right to wear that silly mask if you want to, but don't force me to contribute to your psychosis.
Right?
Yeah,
don't
like
push
that?
don't push your fear on me. Don't push your psychosis on me or your mask privilege. I have the right to price my own risk. Everyone has the right to price their own risk.
Yeah.
And I'm not against you if you're wearing a mask. I don't go up to people and rip their mask off. That would be me violating your privacy rights and your property rights, because the mask is your property.
Hey,
that's
if you
your
want to
personal
cover your
property.
face, it's your face. You have the right to do that.
Do it. But there's this also thing I want to go over really quick before we finish. It's a handy dandy how to use the incident report form. Can I kind of see it there? There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this also printable. So if you're refused access to fair and equal services of facilities, you can issue a notice of discrimination, that's this thing, to the individual who is violating your constitutional rights. And you say to them, number one, are you aware this business is defined as a place of public accommodation? Because frankly, they may not know. I can't tell you how many managers have told me, well, this is private property. Because that's what they've been told by their corporate offices. And this is how we need to push back. Educate them. This is a place of public accommodation, and therefore you're prohibited from denying my access to fair and equal services and facilities. Are you aware of that? And then, okay, so I'm issuing you a notice of discrimination. I'm filling it out. I'm filling out an incident report form to be filed with the U.S. Department of Justice, and criminal charges will be filed against you personally, with the information in this document as well as the establishment.
Amen to that, Tamara. You have to die of something, and she says, I'm going to heaven. Me too.
That's right.
I'm not afraid.
No. Yeah, we have the freedom not to be afraid. So you read this notice of discrimination out loud so everyone can hear exactly what you're doing. Because keep in mind, we're not just doing this for ourselves. In fact, most of us who are willing to stand up are not just doing it for ourselves.
We're trying to make other people around us more brave.
Others, and also people around you. I believe Peggy Hall from Healthy American says she's done this or have reports of people doing this, and they've noticed other people around them in the store start taking off their mask.
Right.
Because they realize, oh yeah, civil rights. Hey, I don't have to wear the stupid thing. I go through stores all the time and I'm hearing people coughing, pulling their masks away from their face so they can gasp in a breath, or even people saying, oh, this mask is killing me, or kids saying, Mom, do I have to wear this?
I saw an old woman one time going through the store gasping for air wearing a mask, and I didn't say anything to her, but I was thinking, why don't you take that stupid mask off? But it's like...
So fill out the notice of discrimination. And if the manager on duty, refuses to sign it, check the box at the bottom of the document. If you only have one copy, take a picture of it with your phone so that you can document it for your own records, and then give the notice of discrimination to that manager who's violating your rights. Or even if you want to service the clerk with this, that's fine. Give it to them, because this, it's very satisfying to fill this out. But you don't have to argue. You don't have to feel combative. You're just like, okay. You just go down the list. You're filling it out and go, okay, you have been served a notice of affidavit. I've got a copy on my phone. Your manager's going to be hearing from me. Corporate's going to be hearing from me. Your legal department is also going to be hearing from me, possibly even my lawyers.
And follow up on that.
And you follow
and send it in and do it. And by the way, if anybody out there happens to have information on what the contact for the actual owner of Tomasita's restaurants are, there's one location in Albuquerque, one in Santa Fe. I need to send a complaint to the owner for the treatment I received by Karen the other day. I love saying that.
Because you're going to be filling one of these out.
I am.
Right?
I'm going to fill one out and I'm going to send it to them.
Time, date, violation, description, signature of injured party. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are, Audrey. She said our rallies are getting bigger and bigger, and they are, and that's really, really great.
Yay! So you have some options once you fill this out. If the proprietor requests you to leave the premises, you can actually call the sheriff to report harassment and intimidation. You can also call to report a crime in progress. Yes, call 911 or call the non-emergency. It's up to you. File criminal charges against the person violating your rights. And this is the thing. People need to know that they are going to be held civilly and criminally responsible. They can't hide behind a corporation. The employees and managers of these stores need to have a reason to push back against their corporations and go, look, you're putting us at risk. Well, we can't violate other people's civil rights. Sprouts is a corporation. You are requiring all of your employees to civilly be liable and criminally be liable for violating people's civil rights.
Yeah, if they don't
do that.
If they don't have the courage to push back, then you provide them with motivation to push back.
Yes, you can sue them, and you don't necessarily have to take it all the way to civil court, but you can definitely put them on notice. You can send this affidavit to the corporate office. You can send this affidavit to the physical location in town with their name on it. Attention, so and so.
And not all of these, business managers are innocent in this.
No.
Some of them are really getting off on the power trip.
Oh,
they really are.
Yes.
Like Karen the other day, she was really getting off on it.
Jared in Sprouts on San Mateo. Yeah, I've talked to people who have complained about you and reported you to the DOJ too. So if they force you to leave the premises, take a picture of the person violating your rights so you can identify them later when you pursue criminal charges. If you're not able to leave the notice, and by the way, if they say, you can't take a picture of me, blah, blah, I'm like, no, you are an employee on an establishment who services the public during public business hours, and you're violating my rights. Boom, I can take a picture of you if I want to because I'm going to be seeing you in court. If you're not able to leave the notice, because a manager might say, nope, I refuse to take any paper from you. It's like, well, you shoved your corporate policy in my face and I took it, so whatever. But if you're not able to leave it, you should mail it using certified mail to the individual and business establishment, with return receipt. And also file your civil rights complaint with the U.S. Department of Justice here, civilrights.justice.gov. I've done that many times before all this wonderful information even came out for us. I've done that many times, and yes, you can also find that on the website, The Healthy American. So there's your notice of discrimination, there's how to use the incident report form, and of course, the legal notice, which, personally, I've been discriminated against multiple times at a specific Sprouts, San Mateo. I'll be going there sometime soon and serving them with a legal notice.
You know what we need to do? We need to do the thing like I was talking to a while back. We need to go shop in at that Sprouts and all of us filed complaints.
Well, it used to be that the Wantabo sprouts wouldn't hassle us, but now they do. And that's the
Okay.
one my mother shops at. My dear mother who has breast cancer. She really is at risk for hypoxia. No, she's experienced hypoxia in the doctor's office, waiting 30 minutes for her appointment. She has almost passed out from wearing a mask. So yes, yeah, we're going to be servicing these, and we have to, because see, here's the thing. It's not just, oh, wait until this blows over. It's not going to blow over. Oh, just, wait until we, flatten the curve. The curve was supposed to be exponential. New Mexico never hit an exponential curve.
No.
You want to know how I know? Okay, go look up all the numbers from the CDC and from worldometers.org. Do the math yourself. We never went exponential.
No, it's never been a crisis in New Mexico.
The pandemic, technically, by the World Health Organization's own definitions, prior to all this, the pandemic never even reached us.
No.
So this is not about flattening the curve anymore. It is about taking away as many of our rights as we'll let them get away with. And again, Sprouts is the trial balloon, and all the other stores, all these organizations who are leaning on stores to take away our civil liberties are watching Sprouts to see how much Sprouts can get away with. This is just the beginning, and if we don't push back against this and let them know, we're watching. Bad business establishment.
You gotta push back.
You can't take our rights.
You all gotta push back.
Gotta push back because it's in our very own Civil Rights Code. The very own U.S. Federal Civil Rights Act. Title II. Memorize that. Quote the heck out of that.
The law does not go away.
Put that legal notice in people's faces. This clipboard now goes everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And this is what I was going to mention. It's like, print out this information from thehealthyamerican.org. Print this information out. Put it on a clipboard. Take it with you everywhere you go. Yep. Be ready. That's what I've started doing.
I just carry the clipboard
Just carry it with you and be ready for it. It's like, oh, yeah.
And of course, it's always disappointing when no one bothers.
Well, the other day I was like totally armed and ready for Costco on Eubank.
Oh, yeah.
And I come up there and I've got my clipboard all ready to go. And I show my card and it's like nothing. It's like I walked right in. It's like, man, I'm disappointed.
I'll bet you someone else already complained.
It's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. Yeah, people around the country need to do this. Of course, Peggy Hall with The Healthy American has been promoting this in California, around the country. She's got a wonderful website. Subscribe to her YouTube videos.
It's a very good website. And yeah, you got to watch her videos. Go there and watch her videos. They are awesome because she's got one video on there where she's with this lawyer that is volunteering his time. And, my opinion...
How to sue Sprouts.
Yeah, absolutely. And my opinion is if you've got a lawyer out there that wants to charge you money, screw them. You don't want
really
that lawyer.
Care about your civil
that
rights.
lawyer doesn't care about your civil rights. No, a lawyer that cares about your civil rights and is in this fight with us is not going to charge you anything.
Right.
That's the lawyer you want.
And we may be looking soon at class action lawsuits. I've got my ear to the ground on that one. If anyone has any info on class action lawsuits being formed because of our civil liberties being violated, let me know, please. Yeah, personally, let us know about those.
I want in on that.
Oh yeah, we'll jump on that one so fast, and we need to. That is how we protect and fight for our freedoms in this country. Is it a slow process? Oh heck yeah. But go to The Healthy American. She also has an almost 60-page document that John Jay put together that also includes examples of follow-up letters, examples of how to properly structure your litigation when you go to file it in your county or in your city or state.
They even have samples of follow-up letters on the website that you can print out.
Yeah, notices, but basically notice to so-and-so prior to litigation. Ooh, notice of intent to sue. So this stuff is amazing. It is stuff that you would pay thousands of dollars for.
This is the best thing that's come along since this all nonsense all started.
And if you have the ability to, I recommend you download all of her videos. You sometimes have to get a little something extra to be able to download videos off YouTube. But download her videos because some of her videos has been taken down because oh yeah, she had some good stuff up on how to sue your state.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah.
But she has her own website, so it's not like she's going to get
Mm-hmm.
censored by Facebook. And you know what you can do is you can take those videos, you can share them on Facebook, and when they take them down, share them
Twitter.
again.
Share it again.
Share them to everybody
Twitter.
else. Have everybody you know reshare them, and just
Parlor.
bombard social media with
Yes.
these videos.
Yes.
And
That's what I
eventually they'll
started
just give
doing.
up. And we've done that before. Like when the frontline doctors were on there,
Oh
we
yeah.
kept sharing the hell out of that
Yep.
video, and eventually they
Like,
just gave up.
okay, you're gonna, YouTube took it down, Facebook took it down, found it again. Okay, here's another one.
Yeah, just
that one's still
kept
up.
reposting,
Keep reposting it. Yes, yes. We got to make our voices heard because here's the thing: people like to call us, crazy MAGA ladies. Oh yeah, by the way, I've been called a crazy MAGA lady.
Oh, awesome! I like that.
I'm being boycotted. My studio is
awesome.
being boycotted. So I have those of you who know. Try to not mix business with political stuff, but I own a belly dance studio. I run that. We haven't shut down this whole time.
You know, you're doing something right when you're boycotted.
Yeah, well, it was by request. I had students who were like, no, we reserve the right to #price our own risk. So if you'll show up, we'll show up. I'm like, okay, ladies. And I did some online stuff for people who requested online. Your decision. But the only other belly dance dedicated studio in town has decided to boycott us because, they're still quarantining. They're not holding in-person classes. Frankly, they never supported our studio in the first place. So now they're boycotting us? Yeah, that's funny. Right there. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know we're doing something right because we're being boycotted officially.
Love it.
And in the meantime, I've never had more requests by phone, email, and Facebook from people I've never heard of and never met saying, hey, are you holding in-person classes? Will you make me wear a mask? So, my business is going to do just fine. Fine, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm the only belly dance studio in town still giving and advertising in-person classes. So,
well, I went up the road the other day. I was thinking about getting back into martial arts training because I did that years ago. And the guy that runs the dojo was wearing a mask and said, well, I'm having to make my students wear masks. It's like,
no,
I'm thinking,
you don't.
like, no.
You really don't.
It's like, and he's also not allowing any contact. It's like, well, what the hell kind of class is this?
How the heck can you spar?
That's like,
there's only so much kata.
Is this martial arts or what is this?
There's only so much kata that you can do.
Yeah.
You gotta spar.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, and I need to start telling people, hats off to one of the bakeries in town that isn't forcing people who claim medical exemption to wear masks, and they're not trying to, because I have talked with the owners, and the owner, she was awesome. She had a conversation with me, and I told her, look, you got to be careful because people are reporting stores for ADA and HIPAA violations. I have no problem with you posting on the sign that people need to wear masks on your premises. Okay, we can question the civil liberties, liabilities of that, but careful about harassing people.
Yeah.
Because businesses are being put on notice. And so every time I've gone in, I can tell some of her employees don't like my maskless face. Hey, that's your right. You don't have to like it.
Isn't it terrible when people don't like your face? It's just terrible.
It's their point. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And I'm sorry. If you need to see a mask on my face to think I'm beautiful, you got other problems.
Yeah. Especially since I enjoy smiling now. See?
Oh, yeah,
see?
That's right. Yay, smiles.
See?
Oh,
I got my teeth fixed the other day.
Good teeth work, yes.
I know.
But yeah, there are businesses that, you just go have conversations with them and let them know, hey, these are real civil liberties. These are real violations. This is statute law that you are actually violating, and you can be civilly and criminally held liable and sued on. And you know what? When you start talking, the legal ramifications.
They're going to think, wow, you really know what you're talking about.
And they start looking into it themselves, and the business owners are going to start going, oh, actual law versus fake law. Actual lawsuit versus just the threat of...
And when you do this, there's a darn good chance they're going to say, oh, just going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance of that, and we'll let you all know how it goes for us too. Because
Oh, absolutely,
I'm going
yeah.
to be doing this more
I
and
think we
more.
need to do a group visit to
Yeah.
Sprouts.
Not everyone needs to be a fighter, by the way. And
Yeah.
you know, for some people, if you want to fill out that affidavit, the notice of discrimination, once you get to your car, if you don't feel like doing it in front of everyone because that's just not who you are, that's fine.
Fill it out and
But
send in the complaint.
this stuff gives you power. You can decide how far you want to take it. File that complaint later on your own time. You know, after you've left the premises, go ahead and fill it out and send it to them, send it to their corporate office, send it to legal, etc., the specific State Department they recommend. You decide how far you want to take it. But look, you've got the tools now. We've got amazing tools here, and you decide how far you want to fight for your rights.
David said he likes our live stream.
Aw, thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
We love you. Mwah. And I know we've gone pretty long.
We're going to try every week to try to provide information that is relevant to things going on that you guys can use, that will hopefully empower you and enable you to fight back against this tyranny that's going on, because it is tyranny.
And we're looking at website hosting, and I'm also looking into the podcast end of things, because I've had people tell me, but it's so hard to find. Yeah, no surprise there. Thanks, Facebook, not. But I'm going to try to see if we can't publish officially the podcast so that you can look us up on, you know, your podcast app and download it or stream it and listen to us. You know,
this is what our third or fourth broadcast.
Fourth, and sorry about the crappy quality on the last one.
Yeah, oh my God, the one last week was awful. I mean, we kept getting cut off. We eventually lost our connection.
Yeah.
This week has actually gone. This has been really good.
It has.
This one has gone perfect.
We even finally got an intro.
I know, and I think we're getting our groove on this. And you know, it takes practice, and it's just going to get better as it goes along. We'll probably, we'll be improving our equipment as we go along.
Eventually, we can get other guests on with us live who want to, share their 2 cents.
Yeah.
Always feel free to, type in the comments if you have questions or something that you want us to address.
And we should ask Audrey to join us sometime.
Yes.
Audrey, if you have time, we'd love for you to.
She's a Liberty lady.
We could do a threesome.
Woo! Yeah, so once again, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Rebecca.
We are Liberty Ladies, and
United.
we unite.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Catch you guys next week. We love you. God bless.